Hey everybody, welcome back to C.Dat.Guy Review Movies. My name's Christian, and for this week we'll be reviewing The Rise of Skywalker. But before we get into it, I just want to say I know it's been a long time since I did one of these. I think it's actually been 2 months since my last upload, and it's because, November, December, the holiday season gets really busy, and I have been watching a lot of movies, but I just haven't had the time to sit down and record my reviews. And I actually recently found out that I couldn't really record my reviews because I ran out of space on my laptop. And it wasn't until a friend of mine got me an external hard drive so I can start, storing my data on there. So shout out to you, Jerode. Thank you. So thank you for being patient. And enough about that. Let's talk about Star Wars. If you can't tell from the various objects in the background, Star Wars is my favorite movie franchise of all time. I got on board during the prequel era, and Revenge of the Sith was the first one I actually watched in theater. And I didn't realize at that time that that was going to be the end of the main Star Wars movies. So when Disney bought the franchise back in 2012, I'm just like, okay, we're getting more Star Wars stuff. I really hope it's good because I am aware that there was such a huge backlash over the prequels, even though I did like a majority of it. But I was really hoping that, okay, let's hope these movies are going to be good. And I was so glad when the franchise came back in 2015 because it was fun associating Star Wars with Christmas over the last 4 years. I've seen every movie in release order, in chronological order, the infamous machete order, and I always try to do it on May 4th when I get the chance. And so to prepare myself for this final movie, I rewatched all the movies again in chronological order since they're on Disney Plus and Netflix. I will do a quick movie review and the ranking of each movie in the franchise as a whole in a separate spoiler video, but for now, let's get into it. So here is my non-spoiler review of The Rise of Skywalker. I actually watched this movie twice on premiere night. I went to a 5 o'clock fan screening by myself, and then I went to a 9 o'clock screening with the rest of my friends. And I was really excited for how this franchise was going to end, but because of The Last Jedi and Solo and how the Star Wars fan base is pretty divided. On a side note, I actually like The Last Jedi for what it was. Don't hate me. But because of all those reasons, I just came in with no expectations and I wanted this franchise to finish strong. I can tell you when I was watching the first time, I really tried not to have a critic mentality because when I was watching it, I can already see there were things that I didn't like. This movie goes really fast and there's a lot of plot points, which means there's a lot of things to process in this movie. Of course, you can't go into this movie without at least watching The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, or at least researching it beforehand. And then, in my opinion, you would have to at least know the story of Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. However, when I watched it the second time, now that I knew what was going on in the movie, I actually enjoyed the movie more. Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac did a great job once again as Rey, Finn, and Poe. And what I really liked about the movie is that they're together for a majority of the journey. And it was kind of reminiscent of watching Luke, Han, and Leia either in A New Hope or Return of the Jedi. I really liked the chemistry between them. And there was actually a lot of funny moments between them without getting too annoying. But also when, things got serious, they had that great dynamic as well. Though I really liked the trio, I personally thought that Adam Driver did the best acting work of all the characters, just because Kylo Ren / Ben Solo goes through a lot in this movie. And though I didn't exactly agree with where his character arc went, I can say that he is the most developed. And though he wasn't in the movie too much, I did like seeing Lando Calrissian back in the movie. And I also like the new characters of Zori Bliss and Babu Frick, that little guy. Yeah, he's just awesome. And there were a couple of characters that got heavily sidelined in this movie, but I guess depending on how you feel about The Last Jedi, that could be a good thing. But for me, it wasn't. So the story is where I believe that because everyone has their own opinion on it, this is what divided the critics, this is what divided some of the audience, and this is what still kind of divides the Star Wars fandom in general. This plot point is pretty linear, and this is not really a spoiler because you heard his laugh at the end of the first trailer, but Emperor Palpatine's back, and I'm sure if you dig into Star Wars lore deep enough, you can figure it out. They had to find this thing called a Wayfinder, and that's going to lead them to Palpatine. In a way, it looked like J.J. Abrams took parts of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and combined them together in order to make this trilogy work. And some people say that it's more of a sequel to Force Awakens and ignores The Last Jedi, which I can see that, but for me, I'll have to disagree because it does carry some important plot points from The Last Jedi. There were some amazing moments during the third act of this movie, and there was one moment I knew was coming, but I really wished didn't happen. And I know I already said how fast this movie was going, but I didn't really realize it until the second time because my eyes were really hurting during the first half of the movie. And so this movie was very entertaining. There's fun moments and there are funny moments, but I think there are some scenes that were kind of sloppy, and I think the story could have been developed a little better and executed a little better so it could earn the stuff that it supposedly established. After watching this movie, I really wasn't sure where to place it in the Star Wars franchise as a whole. I needed some time to think a little bit. Once again, I will do my ranking in a spoiler video, but now that it's been a month since I watched the movie, I can at least give it a score, and for me, I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. I know people who like this movie, and I know people who didn't like this movie. However, I don't know anyone personally who loved this movie. If you're one of those people out there, great. J.J. Abrams does provide some great moments in the movie that give you some familiar feelings from previous Star Wars movies and has plenty of fan service. Most of the characters are fine. The special effects are cool, and though the story could be a little iffy at moments, it's still a satisfactory ride. How much you'll enjoy this movie will vary. For me, I think you'll like this movie depending on how much you really care about the Star Wars lore. If you're a huge Star Wars fan like myself, you might be nitpicking this movie to death, or maybe you'll just let things slide. If you're more of a casual Star Wars fan, or you just want to see a giant sci-fi blockbuster, then I think you're going to like it more. Whichever category you fall into, I still suggest you go see that movie. Alright guys, so there's my movie review of The Rise of Skywalker. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. And go ahead and give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I really don't care. But if you want to see more movie reviews from this guy, go ahead and click the subscribe button. I'll try to make my movie reviews more consistent this year. It's actually a New Year's resolution. But other than that, I hope to see you guys in the next one, and may the Force be with you. Bye!